This is a 2023 Lexus RX, the first year of the 5th generation of the premium crossover that started life as the 1999 Lexus RX 300. There are 4 different powertrains for the 5th generation Lexus RX, and 3 of them are electrified. They are the RX 350, the RX 350h, the RX 450h Plus, and the RX 500h. The Lexus RX 450h Plus, the Plus means that it is a plug-in hybrid, not just a hybrid, but that one isn't quite available for sale just yet. There are also 6 different trims of Lexus RX: Standard, Premium, Premium Plus, Luxury, F-Sport Handling, and F-Sport Performance. This Lexus in particular is the RX 500h, and it is painted in Copper Crest, which is a $595 optional color. And very noticeable, not only is the 500h the top powertrain you can get, the only trim you can get it in is F-Sport Performance. So this is the top powertrain and the top trim of Lexus RX. My name is Robin Warner, by the way, an experienced engineer and magazine editor. And I am also available in Copper Crest, but only if you leave me in the sun too long. I review all kinds of cars, from a $25,000 Ford Maverick to a $425,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I'll happily jump into Honda Accords, BMW M3s, and Porsche 911 GT3s. And I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price for a 2023 front-wheel drive Lexus RX 350 is $49,450. Going with the Lexus RX 500h starts at $63,150, and my test car had a long list of options and cost $74,090. Okay, with all that, now is a good time to pull over and show you around and inside this car in a bit more detail. You really gotta say that this is more of a revolutionary than evolutionary choice when it comes to styling for this 5th generation Lexus RX. And it stands out not only with a bold exterior color choice, but with some F-Sport Performance details as well. Let's take a closer look. And the biggest change is in the front end. You've got this almost like shark nose point here in the front, and then it's just big, expansive grille that goes down low here. I do like this polished metal look right at the bottom for this front lip spoiler, and then these interesting and big accents here around the sides. Now, it is piano black and a unique front bumper design because this is an F-Sport Performance, and we've got these really sharp looking triple beam LED headlamps. These are a $1,565 option on the Lexus RX. This does not blend in. This is bold. This is different. I'm still trying to wrap my head around whether I like it or not, but I definitely like the fact that it's not just same old, same old. But while the styling is indeed bold and interesting, I'm still more interested to see what's under the hood. This is a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, transversely mounted or side to side in the front axle here. The RX is an inherently front wheel drive setup. The center line of the axle is pretty darn close to this front bar right here. So indeed, most of the engine weight is in front of the front axle. The good news is the strut tower braces are also well back here, and that does add structure to the frame. Also, Lexus talked about a little bit more structure coming around the front above the radiator as well. And by the way, windshield washer fluid goes right there. According to Lexus, this is basically the same length as the 4th generation Lexus RX, but the wheelbase itself has been stretched outward, and you do see shorter front and rear overhangs especially in the rear. That's a very short overhang back there. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen so you can check those out and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. But again, look at the styling of this thing. So we have piano black side view mirror covers here. We have interesting window trim, stuff like that. But then we have this like flashy curved black piece that comes out of the C-pillar here, and interesting multi-colors for the door handles here, black on the top of the bottom and then body color out here. We also have $725 running boards on this particular model. Also, we do have a little F Sport logo right here on the quarter panel, and even from the side you can see these large tail lamps. They start well into the side here. I'll show you more of those in just a moment. 21-inch wheels on the F Sport Performance. That is not small. And behind those wheels, those are 15.7-inch rotors and 6-piston calipers clamping onto them in a Lexus SUV. Lexus wants you to take it seriously when you see F Sport on the car. So I mentioned those tail lamps, right, when we were looking at the profile of the car. Look at this, they just go right across the center all the way through. Almost better to say tail lamp. One big long tail lamp. I could do without the roof mounted spoiler, but I do understand the trend. Lexus certainly isn't alone with that. And we do have these interesting accents here down low. Again, because this is an F Sport Performance car, we have a unique rear bumper for the Lexus RX. And despite all this boldness and flashiness, thank goodness we do not have any fake exhaust, just a single tailpipe down here underneath the rear bumper, just as it should be. This particular car does have the $150 kick sensor option for the rear hatch. And that reveals 30 cubic feet of storage behind the second row, which is a pretty healthy number. There are a couple of tie downs through here, and this does have an AC power unit right here, along with this lovely little first aid kit. But if 30 cubic feet is not enough space for you and you only have to carry one passenger, that is easy to do. With just one press of a button, the second row folds down. It is a power folding seat to give you 46 cubic feet of storage and a nice wide space, which I think will easily swallow my bike, but let's find out. Oh yeah, super easy, fits with plenty of room to spare, holds a bike no problem. By the way, these seats also fold up with a push of a button, and they are a $550 option. Also, real quick while that's being done, here's another look at the AC power and the first aid kit right there. Not only are the rear seats powered to be able to get cargo access that easily, they are also heated and ventilated seats for the second row. You can see them right there. That is a $680 option. That is one of many, many options in this particular Lexus. I have a full list of the options in the description. I'm going to list many of them as we talk, but not all of them. We do have a couple USB ports back here, and this is another zone for the climate control system. This is a dark interior, but it's got a lot of nice materials here, and this Mark Levinson badge stuff right here is a really nice touch. Also, these seat bottoms are nice and high, so I have good thigh support, and I do have a solid 2 or 3 inches of knee room as well, and a less than 90-degree bend in my knees. I also have headroom, despite having the panoramic glass roof right here with the privacy panel currently closed. And of course, I do have a center armrest with storage space and cup holders. Oh yeah, what luxury. That panoramic glass moonroof is a $500 option, by the way. Typical controls on the door down here. We do have 3-position driver's seat memory, but it is to the left of the steering wheel over here. We do have electrically adjusting tilt and telescope for the steering, and we also have nice aluminum pedals down below. And plenty of adjustment for the driver's seat right there, including lumbar support. But check out these bolsters. Again, this is more legitimacy right here. Look at the thickness, deeper than my hand right there. And we have decent lower bolsters right here as well. And even a little bit of shoulder support over here. F Sport embossed into the headrest. That is a 7-inch fully digital touchscreen right there. But it is actually a little bit bigger than that. You have more lights to the side of it that function as more gauges right there. We also have a head-up display right here. And the head-up display is actually standard on the RX 500. Not standard is this 14-inch, very big center console touchscreen that is part of that Mark Levinson sound system package I was talking about. It is a $2,265 option. Without the sound system, you get a 9.8-inch screen. Certainly not small, but not as dominating as this. Push-button start is right here. And there is your instrument cluster all lit up. And there is your 14-inch center console touchscreen all lit up. And I'm not sure if it'll show up or not, but there is the head-up display as well. Among the many, many features of this system is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And you also get a robust voice assistance system. All you have to do is say, "Hey Lexus,
what do you want to do?"
Set the temperature to 72 degrees.
Setting the driver's temperature to 72 degrees.
Now, the climate control system is quite elaborate. As you can see, the front seats are heated and ventilated, and you have a heated steering wheel as well. The heated and ventilated seats are actually standard across the Lexus RX, so that's a nice touch. And I do like that it isn't just a touch screen. These are actual physical dials right here. You also have a physical button and volume knob as well. Now, I showed you the USB ports we have in the rear. There's two. There's two more right there, but there's actually more than that. There are two more USB ports down here, and this is a wireless smartphone charger down here. That is also standard on the Lexus RX, which is a nice touch. And even the cup holders have a nice little touch here. See this little push button right there? Well, you can choose between a shallow or deep front cup holder, but it's only the front. The rear doesn't do that. But if I push on this, you do have a slightly atypical brindle right here. It's not just straight up or down. You have to go to the left and down to get drive, left or up to get reverse. Once you're in drive, straight down puts you in manual mode. If you're in manual mode, you have paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. The steering wheel itself is a nice thick rim, and it does have plenty of controls as well as an F Sport badge right there. You have media controls on the left, cruise control options on the right. Beneath that, we have more storage down here, down low. Looking up, we have a nice frameless rear view mirror, but it does double as a screen for the rear view camera if you want that. That is a $200 option right there. And looking up even further, here are your controls for the panoramic moonroof. Lovely. Okay, drive modes. This does have drive modes. In fact, it does have an adjustable suspension. So you have real changes in the chassis with the drive modes. But it does not have an obvious button to get to the drive modes. Drive modes themselves are adjusted on the screen here. Go to Vehicle, Drive Modes, and there you have normal, sport, and eco drive modes, as well as custom. Now, when you go to custom, you can see that you can change the powertrain, throttle map, transmission, things like that, but also choose between normal and sport suspension, normal and sport steering, and you can choose between normal and eco air conditioning. So again, this is another way of showing you that Lexus wants you to take this F Sport part of the Lexus RX seriously. This is going to be an interesting drive, which means we should get back to the drive. All right, let's dig into the powertrain. As I said, there are 4 powertrains available eventually. 3 of them are available right now, and that starts with the only non-electrified version, the RX 350. That is powered by a turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that makes 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. You also get an 8-speed automatic transmission, and that is the only RX that can be had in front or all-wheel drive. The RX 350h instead gets a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter engine, and that runs on the Atkinson cycle. but that is paired with 2 electric motors, and that makes a grand total of 246 horsepower and 233 pound-feet of torque. That gets paired with an eCVT transmission and is only all-wheel drive, and that's because one of the electric motors is on the rear axle, so you get all-wheel drive, but without a drive shaft. This RX 500h combines the turbocharged 2.4 liter with the hybrid system, so you get a grand total of 366 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, pretty darn good. The engine itself does make the lion's share of the power, and the outputs are slightly different than in the RX 350. You get 271 horsepower, just a little bit less, but 339 pound-feet of torque. Don't count out that rear axle motor entirely. In the 500h, you get 107 horsepower from that motor ultimately, and don't forget that's electric power with electric torque, really good response, and available from very low RPM. So that does help substantially when you're at lower engine speeds. But because the electric motor and the engine make their peak powers at different speeds, you can't just add the two together. That's why we don't have more than 400 horsepower. Aside from the turbo engine, another critical difference between this and the 350h powertrain is that you get a 6-speed automatic transmission with this. So you get real gears to play with. And that actually hurts fuel economy. That definitely hurts fuel economy, but it very much helps the direct feel when you're accelerating. We'll get to that in a moment. In fact, this is a very similar powertrain to the Toyota Crown Platinum, Toyota's flagship sedan and top powertrain in that flagship sedan. I actually did get a chance to test that car last fall. A link should pop up here, and I'll have a link in the description as well if you're at all curious. And just like in the Toyota Crown, I think this is a very potent powertrain. There is enough grunt from the electric motors that you do good feel, good pull from even the lower RPMs. And the fact that you have a real transmission really helps give a directness to the engagement, a positive feeling of engagement. Right now, I'm just in the normal driving mode, cruising, floor the accelerator. Yeah, that's good response. Quick kick down from the transmission and then good pull right away. That has less lag than a lot of modern powertrains these days, and you can appreciate that. And the electric motor plays a role there. It starts getting the car going right away, and that gives the turbocharged engine a moment to spool up in the right gear and then really deliver a more solid punch. Now, I will say, especially in the sport driving mode, the throttle map is a little bit tip-in heavy. I wish it were a little bit more of a linear response. You can, of course, put it in the eco driving mode. You get a much more linear throttle there, but you also get a much slower, smoother response from the engine. It doesn't want to give you full power unless it absolutely has to. It takes away too much of the fun. However, eco driving mode is probably your best bet to eke out the best fuel economy. And considering that this is a full-size, rather large 2-row SUV, it's pretty darn respectable fuel economy. You get 27 miles to the gallon in the city, 28 miles to the gallon on the highway, 27 combined. If you go with the non-H RX 350, you do get a little bit worse. However, the RX 350H does do noticeably better than this. Again, it has that eCVT, it has the naturally aspirated Atkinson cycle engine. There are some gains there for sure. Where does the RX 350H fall short? Accelerating. That's not an issue here. Yes, I tested it, and yes, I'm very much looking forward to showing you that now. All right, time for an acceleration test. We've got a real transmission to work with. We also have more than 400 pound-feet of torque. I do have the car in the sport driving mode, and I do also have traction control off. And I'm not expecting much wheel slip, but we might get a little bit in the front axle. That does do more of the work than the rear. Let's see how this thing goes. Okay. Coming to a complete stop. Bit of brake torque. Just under 2,000 RPM. Off the brake. There we go. little bit of spin from the front axle, and good quick shifts from the 6-speed transmission, and good acceleration. Yeah, this is a fun, quick little thing. Wow, that was definitely more than I expected. Lexus says the RX 500h will go 0 to 60 in less than 6 seconds, 5.9 seconds. And yeah, with pull like that, good consistent pull like that, I believe it. This is a brand new platform that we're on. It is the GAK platform, and according to Lexus, it is nearly 200 pounds lighter and stronger than the 4th generation Lexus RX platform. Not only that, Lexus claims that it has a lower center of gravity, 0.6 inches. In terms of strength, Lexus also claims to use more high-strength steel, more weld points, and more structural adhesive to put it together. Because this is an F Sport performance version of this platform, we also get adjustable shock absorbers and dynamic rear steering. The rear axle can turn up to 4 degrees, which will really help be more maneuverable in slow speed and more stable in higher speed. I've definitely experienced that on Porsche and Mercedes models, but this is the first Lexus I've dealt with it, and yeah, works well, works seamlessly. But something named F Sport Performance, of course I had to test the handling. Let me show you that now. All right, everybody, time for a handling test in this Lexus RX 500h. I do have the car in the sport driving mode, and I do have both the traction control and stability control off. Variable suspension, sportier steering, all-season tires, Lexus SUV. Let's see how it goes. All right. Yeah, good pickup certainly. Steering feels nicely weighted. Oh, not a lot of grip and a decent amount of body roll, but actually pretty good chassis balance. That was less understeer than I expected. Oh, yeah, not a lot of grip and a lot of body roll. But again, I mean, that chassis balance is better than I expected. And considering everything that we've got going on, it's more playful than I expected as well. Yeah, you can feel over these little whoops of the road, there is still a fair amount of body motion, and it does not love fast transitions from left to right. But that rear electric motor does put power down in the rear nicely. The understeer's pretty minimal. I mean, okay. This is not a great handling thing, but it is more entertaining than I thought it would be. Genuinely, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Let's talk about some good things. The steering weight is pretty good. You have a nice heavy steering, makes it pretty easy to be precise with this thing. That's nice. The chassis balance is actually pretty good. That is better than I expected, especially as you apply throttle. It does put a lot of power to the rear and really does help you power out of the corner nicely. Brake feel, not very good. You get these weird kind of inconsistent grabby brakes. The throttle application, you get pretty heavy throttle tip in. That makes it a little bit harder to be progressive with the throttle. And even with the sport tuned suspension, even with these adjustable shocks, we do get more body roll than is ideal. But I mean, I'm in a Lexus RX SUV and I'm smiling and laughing after doing some handling. That's progress. All right, but this is a Lexus SUV. Of course, what is it going to be used for more often? A pleasant ride, just getting places, doing things, and you want to do that comfortably, I can only assume. Well, the good news is that in the normal driving mode, the adjustable shock absorbers are plenty compliant, and the ride is as well. This new structure feels very solid beneath you, and you've got a lot of technology to work with as well. And that's true on roads like this or on the interstate. I did test it there as well. Let me show you that. time for a quick test on the highway. I do have the Lexus RX back in the normal driving mode. Stability control and traction control is on, of course. But before we get going, I wanted to quickly show you, you have a lot of options of what cruise control and driving assist systems you have. This does, of course, have the Lexus Safety System Plus 3.0, so lots of driving aids. But we also have a head-up display, and I wanted to show you what options you have before you even get going. On the steering wheel right here, you have traction control, whether you want lane tracing assist, but also this panel right here, and you can actually make a lot of adjustments to the cruise control system that you're using with this system. So I can choose driving assist mode. So if I press on that, adaptive cruise control or standard cruise control. I can also choose distance right here. And once you're moving in traction control set, you use that same panel to choose speed as well. Anyway, just wanted to briefly show you that. And now let's get going. All right, getting on the interstate now. All season tires, having a little fun. Okay, cruise control is set at 78 miles an hour to go with traffic. I do have lane tracing assist on. I do have adaptive cruise control on and all that other stuff. We are coming up on a subtle curve now, so I'll take my hands off the wheel. And yep, per usual, Toyota and Lexus lane tracing assist works very, very well and just keeps us right in the center of the lane nicely. It is now complaining to put my hands back on the wheel, of course. And more fundamentally, this 5th generation platform feels really solid underneath me. We have really nice wind noise isolation, pretty darn good road noise isolation. I do hear little faint buffeting around the side view mirrors and that kind of thing, but it's very distant and generally very quiet in here. The engine is staying very, very quiet and is very much in the background. And we have this really nice big 14-inch screen to use. Lots of options here, heated seats, cooled seats, all of that. Plenty of ways to keep everything charged, of course, and good connectivity options as well. This is a very, very pleasant highway cruising machine. This is kind of the core competency of Lexus. They've always been good riding, comfortable cruisers, and this one still remains that. It just happens to be a little bit of fun if you want to take a couple of corners as well. Can you tow with the Lexus RX? Yes, you can. And in fact, it doesn't matter which powertrain you get. According to Lexus, you can tow up to 3,500 pounds with this car if the trailer has trailer brakes. If it doesn't, Lexus says keep it to 1,000 pounds, which is decisively less weight. But the core structure and all that can handle 3,500 pounds. So if you have trailer brakes, you can tow a decent amount with this thing. So what do we have with this 2023 5th generation Lexus RX? Well, we have something that definitely went bolder when it comes to styling. The fact that they're even offering this color, copper crest, alone is kind of a new bold way to go. And I think it's a very cool, very striking color. I think the styling is a little bit of something you got to get used to, but once you do, you got to appreciate the efforts they went to just stand out that little bit. But ultimately, styling is subjective. Much less subjective is this new powertrain that we have here. To have more than 400 pound-feet of torque and over 350 horsepower to play with in this Lexus RX is, well, fun, frankly. And it's a nice, lively powertrain as well. The fact that you have a real transmission to work with, that's great. And the fact that Lexus was bold enough to do adjustable suspension and try to give it some sporty demeanor in its full-size SUV, you have to give them respect for that. And it was fun. It wasn't great, but it was fun. Yeah, and that's progress. And of course, you have all the technology and comfort that you did expect in this Lexus, so all that is really good. For me, ultimately, it doesn't quite get to the level to be like a true enthusiast choice, but man, I will say that it is going in that direction. I'm Robin Warner, thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please show me by giving it a thumbs up. Doing so helps me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're interested in something like the RX 500H, something you might want to check out, and I almost can't believe I'm saying this, is the Porsche Macan S. that is actually surprisingly similar to this car in more ways than you'd think. First of all, there's only a 9 horsepower difference in peak output. Price is actually also really similar. I got a chance to review that last fall, and you should definitely check that out. And from there, I've reviewed a whole bunch of stuff by now. Something's gonna pop up on the screen next to me. Hopefully it's something you're interested in, and if you do end up watching it, I definitely hope you like it. Okay, goodbye for now.